Hello everybody, this is Andy speaking. Welcome to my channel. On my channel I'll be talking about all things burnout related, and today I want to talk about sleep. A good night's sleep is one of the most important things that you can have, because if you wake up rested, you feel more energized, and that's the foundation for having a good day, let alone perform. A couple of years ago I watched a TEDx talk by Matt Walker. He's the author of the book Why We Sleep, and he completely freaked me out because he talked about a silent sleep loss epidemic that we are facing as a society. It talks about all kinds of negative consequences that a lack of sleep has, and that freaked me out even more because during my burnout I obviously wasn't sleeping very well. If I was lucky I was having 2, maybe 4 hours sleep, and often waking up in the middle of the night not being able to fall asleep again. I was starting to think about the long-term consequences this might have, but then again he also mentions that you can't catch up on sleep that you missed. You also can't change the past, so I was wanting to look forward, and from that moment on I made sleep a priority of mine. Now I do 2 things to ensure that I have a good sleep. Firstly, I ensure that I have a very good going to bed evening routine, which not only focuses on the priority of having a good night's sleep, but also includes other priorities like my health and well-being, and also the fact that I want to read more, so I include a lot of reading in my evening routine. So what exactly do I do? After having a light dinner, it's my job to take care of the kitchen. My wife takes care of the kids, make sure they clean their teeth, get ready for the next day of school and go to bed on time. After doing the kitchen, I normally sit down and read in the living room. Normally it's an article that I came across during the day that interests me. Often it's burnout related. After that I have a last look at my phone, and then I set the alarm clock and plug it in and not touch it again until the next morning. After that I take a pen and I write down one thing that I did well during the day. Now that was super weird at the very beginning, because I just wasn't used to tap myself on the shoulder and say, yeah, well done Andy. But the idea behind it is to build and nurture your self-confidence. Especially during the worst hours of my burnout, my self-confidence, my self-belief was non-existing. It was very clear that this in the long run helps me believe in myself. The second thing I do is I write something down that I appreciate. This brings to mind that I actually have a very, very good life. Again, during my burnout, I thought, I'm shit, I have a shit life. Which obviously wasn't the case. And through this little exercise, I'm keep reminding myself that I actually have an awesome life. If there's something that bothers me, I also write that down. The idea here is to empty your head, park it on a piece of paper, so that it doesn't bother you when you go to bed. Now, admittedly, that doesn't work all the time, but it often works as well. So, this sounds very exciting, I know, but this is precisely the point. It's not supposed to excite you, it's supposed to wind the day down. After doing my little writing exercise, I go and clean my teeth, wash my face, and I go to bed, and then I have my book there, and I read 15-20 minutes, depending how tired I am. And importantly here is that this is not anything heavy to digest. Normally it's a biography of somebody I'm interested in, a former footballer or a former football manager, something like that, something light. The second thing I do is cool, dark, clean. Before I start my evening exercise, I open up all the windows in our bedroom to ensure that the temperature is low, and that's helping us sleep better. Secondly, we make sure that the room we sleep in is very dark, and also after 9 o'clock we dim all the lights in our apartment so that there's generally no bright lights around. Also, max 30 minutes before going to bed, I don't look at my phone anymore. Apparently the bright light tricks your brain into thinking it's daylight, and your brain doesn't go into sleep mode. And clean means that we make sure that our bed covers are washed and changed on a weekly basis. A nice, fresh, clean bed is very, very cozy and obviously helps them sleep better as well. Now, I think it's very important that I'm not sure that having a good evening routine and focusing on sleep hygiene, that during my burnout I would have slept better. Because the issues that I had were clearly up in my head. I kept asking myself, why is this happening to me? What is going on? What did I do wrong? I wake up every morning, I work hard, I give it my all, and still people don't appreciate me. What is going on? And then obviously the work with the therapist kicked in, because we looked at why I burnt out, and a major reason was the toxic work environment that I was in. We looked at that, and why do I consider this to be toxic? Reasons being the values that I have, the way I think we should work, was clashing completely with the current management in that particular group. So it was a very clear decision that I had to take to leave that group to feel better again. Secondly, I had a lot of things on my plate. So I had a lot of things going on in my mind that I needed to manage. Next to my 100% job, I have a family. I'm married, and we have 8-year-old twins. During my burnout, they were obviously younger. I was the president of a sports club. The sports club was rather big. We had 1,000 members and 19 different sports that we offered. I was also politically active here in the town that I live. I was on the local parliament, which obviously also caused a lot of work. And then two things outside of my influence sphere, if you like, happened. My father had a severe stroke. He remained paralyzed and didn't recover and had to go into a nursing home. And war in eastern Ukraine broke out. My wife is from there, so we basically had family in a war zone. And what I'm trying to say here is that the second thing that we're working on is, how big is your plate? How much can you actually do? If it's too much, you have to get rid of a few things, and that's what we then did. Last but not least, I burned out because of parts of my personality. I have an issue saying no. I also have, I'm also a pleaser. I like to please people. I like to make everybody happy. I like when everybody likes me, which is simply not realistic, because I don't like everybody, so why should everybody like me? So once these issues were sorted out, over time my sleep got better. And you can have the best evening routine, and you can have a very good sleep hygiene. If stuff is bothering you in your head, you have to sort this out first. Here is a small suggestion. If you have issues waking up at night and you can't sleep, or can't fall asleep again, try getting up, going into another room and writing the things down. Similar to my evening exercise I do on a daily basis, the idea here is to empty your head and get everything that's bothering you out and park it on a piece of paper for the next day to take care of. Admittedly, again, this won't work every time, and it needs a little bit of practice, but it can work and can help you sleep or fall asleep better again in the middle of the night. Now, I also like to highlight here that everything that I suggest on my channel is based on my own experience and the research I did into burnout. I'm not a therapist. Also like to mention that the company I used to work for was actually a very good one, just this particular group wasn't for me. So in closing, I very much am happy that I made sleep a priority. With the measures I put in place, I sleep very well on a regular basis, and that's, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this clip, is the foundation to have a very good day, let alone perform. So I hope that you find this video helpful, and if you are interested in the topic of burnout and all the themes around that, please subscribe to my channel, give it a like if you indeed liked it, and see you in the next clip. Take care. Ciao.